In today's video, we're going to be talking about the ways that you can get a job as a teenager, ages 13 plus. So this video will have 3 steps. The first one is making your CV, the second one is actually finding your job, and the third one is acing your interview. So in order to get a job, you need to have a solid CV. This is normally the bit that can really scare people, but it's not actually that bad. In fact, they're fairly simple to make. So you want to start it off with your name and contact details at the top. Below that, you're going to want to put your goal. So this is what you're looking to achieve and why you want to work there. For example, you could say, I'm looking to get experience in retail and pay for college on the side. Then below that, you want to put your education. So this is what school you attend, your grades, but only if you want to. If you have good grades, pop them on there. But if school isn't really your thing, a lot of places won't really be bothered by your grades as long as they see that you're willing to work hard and be dedicated. In your education section, you also want to mention other parts of your school that you're involved with. So you might be a part of any societies or clubs or sports teams. That's all really useful to put down on there. As well, if you have any school responsibilities like being the head boy or being a prefect or being in school council, these are also some really good points to write down. So for each point that you write, you want to follow a general structure that shows that you learnt a really good skill from doing this thing. So I would structure each point that you make like this. Firstly, a brief summary of what it is, and then what you did in that role or position, and then what skill you learned from it. So for example, if I was a member of a debating squad, I would say this. I was a member of the national debating squad, and here we regularly debated both in our school and in regional events. In 2019, I won the regional debate in Leeds. Debating has helped me improve my ability to think quickly and communicate clearly. You then want to add another section below this about your background and history, and this is basically about what previous job experience or work experience you have. Now you may be thinking, Noah, I've never even worked a job in my life, how will I do this section? Well, you don't need to worry, because most of us, if not all of us, have worked more jobs than you think. If you've babysat for someone, if you've volunteered, if you've done odd jobs, that's all work experience that you can put down. So if you've babysat for someone else, you could put that down as childcare. If you've mowed a neighbour's lawn, you have experience in lawn care and landscaping. And you can apply this to many things like pet sitting or car washing and more. If you volunteered for something like in a youth club or in a charity shop, they'll love to see that as well, and that looks really good on the CV. For these things, you're going to need to put a reference below them just to confirm that you worked at that place, and the reference is basically just a short statement from the person that you worked for or with, and they need to make it seem like you did a really good job. It's really important it looks professional and good, and that includes having good grammar. So I would give it to a parent or a teacher just so they can check that the grammar's good and it can really impress your employer. Now, I know from experience it can take a long time and be very confusing as to trying to figure out how to structure and lay out your CV if you've never done it before. And I've looked at a lot of templates and tutorials on YouTube, but they're not really very helpful, and they're definitely not targeted towards teens. So what I've done is spent a lot of my time designing a template which is super simple and specifically designed for teenagers in order for them to get a job. I've made 2 copies, a blank one with all the bits that you just need to fill in, and then a filled in one which I did, which basically just gives you an example of how you should fill it in. Now, if you want to get your hands on this and dramatically speed up the process of making your CV, along with a spreadsheet, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, which helps you find places to get a job, I'm going to leave a link in my bio where you can purchase it on my website for £4, and that's basically the same price as a Subway, but instead of a sandwich, it's going to get you a job, so it's a no-brainer. I put a lot of time and value into this and tried to make it an affordable price for all of you to buy, so buying this will also really help support my channel and help me make more videos for you guys. Now we're going to be talking about finding a job, and there are 2 main ways to get a job. You can just set up your own local business. This is what I did. I did a car washing business. This is where you work for yourself, you don't have an employer. But what we're going to be talking about today is actually finding regular employment. This is working for another company and having a regular job, regular hours and regular pay. So this could be like working in a cafe or a supermarket. Generally in the UK, you have to be 13 years old plus to get one of these jobs, but you can only get minimum wage when you turn 16. Now, a few examples of jobs that I've seen people have a lot of success in, especially teenagers, are one like retail, supermarkets, car washing places, working in fast food, being a cleaner, or working in cafes. Now, most teenagers, when they want to find a job like these, normally go online and look on various websites, But to be honest, I wouldn't do this. It's a waste of time. They can mislead you. And to be honest, they're not very helpful. I've wasted a lot of time there. So I've come up with a better system for you to find jobs. Firstly, make a list of all of the sectors, all of the industries that you think you could work in. I've mentioned a few already. Then you want to go to Google and search up for these businesses and sectors near you, and make sure they're near enough to your house so you can travel to them easily. And an extra tip, it's always good to look for locally owned businesses, ones that aren't a big chain, if you're below 16, because often a lot of the big chains like Tesco's, etc. will only hire you if you're above 16 years old. Once you find a few cafes or supermarkets or whatever near you, you want to have a look at them and make a suitable list of ones that you think you could work at. And the best way to make a list is to make a spreadsheet. You could do this on Google Sheets or on Excel, and you can easily track the details and progress of each job and see what progress you're making and how near you are to getting that job. Now, I've made a super useful one with every single thing you need. It's got drop down bits and every single thing you need to track your progress, and that will be along with the document, the blank CV that you can get on my website. On this sheet, you want to input things like their names, their addresses, their details, all of the things about the various jobs that you think you might want to work at. You also want to add their contact details and how they've responded to you and whether you think you're going to get the job. This will make the process a lot easier and less complicated, because you are going to need to apply to quite a few places in order to get a job, because a lot of places will say no, but at the same time a lot of places will probably be interested. So once you've made this sheet, you've got their names, you've got where they are, their addresses, their contact details and everything like that, you need to start contacting them and asking them for a job. This is the bit that a lot of people hate, but it is the necessary bit. Again, I'm always talking about on this channel, guys, getting out your comfort zone, and this is something that you just need to do. So I've seen the best way to get a job, and a few of my friends have done this and it's worked really well for them, is to literally go into the store and ask for the manager. But we're not going to be like a Karen here. We're going to be super polite. We're going to make a good impression. We're going to hand them your CV in a plastic wallet, and we're going to say, hey, if you're looking for a job, I am your man. I'm really willing to work here, and I'm going to work very hard. Because remember, guys, you've got to make a good impression. You've got to show them that you are serious about working there. And because you're there in person, they'll think, he looks like a good guy. He could get on the team. But obviously, because we're in the pandemic, you might not always be able to do this, so you might just want to email them or phone them. It's up to you. Now, that's one way of finding a job, but you also need to think about using your connections. Now, let's face it, we all know people who know people. We all know someone who's just got a lot of contacts and has a good network. It's likely you might know someone who's a local businessman or businesswoman who just knows a lot of people and has got a lot of local connections. So what you want to do is draft up an email with your CV attached and say to them, hey, I'm currently looking for a local job. If you know anyone who might be interested in hiring me, I'd really appreciate it if you forward this email on to them. And also in your day-to-day life, you know, if you go to a church or to a school or to a club, just ask around the people there. Just say to them, hey, do you know anyone or anywhere that I might be able to work at? So now we've talked about that, we're going to have to be talking about the interviews. So you might get accepted for a job, you might meet up with a manager and they say, great. They might give you a call and say, can we have you in for an interview? And this is the bit where you've got to make the deal. You see, they're already interested in having you, so you've got to give them a good impression. So the first way we're going to do that is dress for success. Now look at what I'm dressed like here. To be honest, I've got my pajama bottoms on, I've got my hoodie on. It's not a good impression, but you're going to want to wear something like a shirt, maybe even a tie. It depends, you know, what's the sort of culture of that place, but that's the sort of stuff that you need to wear to make a good impression. And then you've got to arrive early. I'd say 10 to 15 minutes, because this sets a good precedent and shows them you're going to be punctual, and when you work there in the future, you're not going to be a slacker. When you arrive to that place, make sure your phone is out of sight. If not, just leave it at home, because it can look very bad if you come in there with your headphones on and you're not social. You need to be getting around, meet the other employees, say hi, greet yourself, and just get a feel for their culture there. During the interview, you'll be asked various questions. You've just got to make it seem like you really are enthusiastic about working there and that you respect their company. They'll ask you a few questions, and to be honest, you might not know what to say, and that's fine. And to be honest, you just have to be honest with them, and they'll be respectful to you if you are honest with them. And of course, when you meet them, give them a good handshake, as that will go a long way, and also take a notepad in with you, because it can be useful to take notes. At the end, they might ask you if you have any questions about working there, and this is normally the bit that people forget about and they freak out because they feel like, oh no, I haven't prepared any questions for them, I don't know what to ask. So some great ones to say are, what is a typical day or shift like in this company? What's your favourite thing about working here? And how do you see this company evolving in the next 5 years? This makes it seem like you're very interested and you see the vision of their company. And guys, that is it. Remember, link in my bio if you want to get that CV template plus the spreadsheet filled in, and a blank one for you to get. It's £4 and it's on my website. So if you need any help with confidence, how you appear and interact with other people, I definitely recommend you get this book that I've been reading called 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. You can actually get it free with a trial of Audible, so I'll leave a link in my bio if you want to get that. And if you do use that link, remember guys, it'll be helping support my channel, so I really appreciate it. Apart from that guys, I will see you in the next video.